Hello dear learners, welcome back to the videos. Today we shall be discussing few important topics around object, and hence our today's topic is centered on object fundamentals. So let us begin. A quick review of class and object. As we already know, class, we know that it encapsulates data and it functions into a single unit. So on the left hand side of the screen you can see that we have a class vehicle, and we know that there are certain features of vehicle. A vehicle can be used for transportation. This is the property or a function which is done by our class. And the vehicle includes set of wheels. So wheels here are the data members. So we can categorize our class vehicle further into bus, car, bike. So the concept which we are noticing here is actually called as specialization. We are moving downwards in the class hierarchy, and class vehicle is the superclass existing here, from which we are deriving three more classes. And on the right hand side of the screen again you can see that this car is actually viewed as a capsule. We are terming it encapsulation in terms of object oriented programming, and car is a collection of data members and member functions, as we discussed recently. So car can have wheels, bumpers, exhaust. So all these are called the data members, which specifies the properties. And the functions can be speed, engine, mileage, etc., which are called as member functions. So this was a quick recapitulation of the concept of class and object. Moving on, let us deep dive further. After class, we all know that objects, which are basic runtime entities and which are centered on some real-time data. And in the programming paradigm of object-oriented programming, we know that we can get the interactions with the real world through object. Further, the solution of any practical approach, like realizing an application or a software into use, is only done with the help of objects in a class. So this is the quick review of the concept of objects, as we had already seen in my previous videos as well. So today's discussion would be centered on object. What are other important terminologies related with object? So here we go. What we need to learn today are three terms: state, behavior, and identity. These are very important fundamentals which are focused on the concept of objects. State of an object. So let us see the definition. The state or attribute is the built-in characteristic or property of an object. For example, a TV has a size, color, model, etc. So whenever we are seeing the characteristics, the properties, the attributes of any real-time entity around us, we know that this is the state of an object. Okay, like we have Android phones. So Android phone can have a company, it will have an Android version, it will have a particular color and a model in the series. So that will define the state of our mobile phone. Now moving on, let us quickly see what is the behavior of an object. The definition says that behavior or operations are the predefined functions which any object can do. So moving on with the example of a TV remote, we know that TV remote can be used to change channels, to increase or decrease the volume, to fine tune the channels, and we know that these all are the functions which every remote will do. So whenever we have some implementation of a function or an operation on an object, those things are called as behavior of an object. And the last terminology is object identity. The identity means a uniquely identifiable name of an object. Okay, and for example, we know that the fridge cannot become a TV. TV is a separate object. Fridge is a separate object. A remote is a separate object. So every object is uniquely identifiable. You can't interchangeably use the common names. Okay, these are the distinguished names given to all separate objects. So we will see deeper into the next slide about all these three terms. A quick review of our programming implementation. Let us take example of a class which name is triangle. In the private and public section of the class, we have defined certain attributes as well as a set of functions. Now you can see there is an orange rectangle box under which we are creating an object of the class triangle. Okay, T is the object of class triangle. So furthermore, in another box you will see that there are three different objects. T1, T2, T3 are the three objects which are created for the class triangle. So what important concept you are learning here is that we can have multiple set of objects for same common class, and yes, we all agree, we have studied it earlier also, and each object always keep a separate copy of data members. We can use few or less data members in all the set of objects that we have made. Say T1 is only using 2 to 3 data members, T2 is using 5 data members, whereas T3 is having all the data members of the class. So this is a possible concept, and here each data member will be residing in the each copy of the object. Moving on, as we have to discuss state, behavior and identity today, we will see deeper what an state is. State is defined as the attribute of an object and the values which any object can take. For example, we are taking an example of a car. So we know that a car has certain speed, the racing cars have other speed, the normal vehicle that we use for our transportations have other speed range. So every object will have certain properties which are static. Okay, a speed of a car, it's not like sometime the maximum speed is 200 and the other time the speed goes to 600 miles per hour. No, the speed range is fixed. So this property is called as the static attribute property, and we can never remove or alter this without the essential definition of an object. Okay, a car will never be moved, or let us say some other example. If we have a remote can only be used to say, interact with your television. Okay, one remote cannot be used to operate a microwave or a refrigerator. So all the properties which belong to the object are always static. Furthermore, if you want to have a speed of a car up to 250 or up to 500 miles per hour, so that is a different attribute. You need to fix it in a different car. But one car, if has been fixed with some limit of a speed, it will remain the same throughout. So this is defined as the state of an object. Moving on, if we see the behavior, we saw recently that behavior means the actions, the functions or the methods which are exhibited by any object. So there is one and more important concept here which goes around, is that whenever the objects are executing any function, they might need to talk to other object. They might need to communicate with the other object, and this mechanism is termed as message passing. So whenever there are functions under execution, whenever an object is performing any procedure or method, it might need to communicate via messages with some other objects, and the mechanism is termed as message passing. And whenever we have talking to the functions, it is essentially important there ki what is the nature of the function. Okay, that is being defined during the class definition. Like you can see here in this example, all other functions that we have made are under public region. So an access identifier or access modifier must be kept in mind, and a class must be designed in such a way that you are not violating the access behavior. So this was about the behavior of an object, and the theory points mentioned, you can read them out. They are actually describing the very same things that I have recently told you. And the last one is identity. So yes, we saw that identity is a unique identifiable name given to any object, and every object has its own individual identity, its own properties, its own behaviors, and the identity of an object is independent of its attributes or operations. Okay, this means that if there is a 800 car and you respray it with some other color, and you are boosting the engine or putting something to enhance the performance, the 800 car will remain the 800 car. It can't be upgraded to an Audi or something. So this goes like this, and identity defines the same thing. So it was all about the three fundamental concepts: state, behavior, and identity. And the students must keep in mind the definition, because these are the very important terms often being asked in the interviews and during campus. And here I have presented some homework questions. If you are studying object oriented programming, then I assume that students must know the basic fundamentals. So please recapitulate the things, and do try to attempt the 4 questions. The first question is, how is struct different from a class? The second question is, what are candidate classes and cohesive classes? In the third question, you have to tell which operator will give the size of an object or type. And the fourth question is on MCQ, which is asking you which of the following is not a member of a class, and 4 functions are enlisted. So please revise the concepts and the fundamentals of OOPS and do attempt these 4 questions. This was all about today. Happy learning, and keep visiting our channel. Thank you.